Welcome back to Hillbilly Pillars. It's better late than never. I wanted to jump on the 2026 vinyl tag that's going around. It was started by David Atkinson. He posed 20 great questions to the vinyl community. I'll make sure to tag his video beneath mine. It's a lot of questions, so let's get to it. The first question he had was, show your best vinyl other format musical purchase of 2025. I thought about this a little bit, but in the end, there was no doubt. And I've got it out of its box just for perspective. It has to be the Springsteen Tracks 2 package. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums. Now, 2 of them you could question as albums. They're more of like a collection. But that's unreal amount from an artist like Springsteen to just drop kind of out of nowhere too. And on top of that, one of these happens to be my favorite release of the year. I mean, because that's the year these were released. It may have been recorded at a different time, but one of these is my favorite 2025 album, but I'll get to that later. But no doubt, I don't have the box here in front of me, but Tracks 2 by Springsteen was my favorite purchase of the year. So let me set all that down. Keep it going. Is share your favorite live musical experience. This one was kind of surprising. My wife hit me up to go see Alison Krauss at our local amphitheater here in Tallahassee. And it was awesome. It was part of a festival they do every year here. And I've always been a casual Alison Krauss fan, but by no means a hardcore fan. I don't own any of her records, on vinyl anyway. And she was amazing. Just beyond any kind of expectation I had. It was one of the better shows I've seen here in town. And yeah, I just came away with a very elevated opinion of her. And her band, of course, was out of this world great with Jerry Douglas. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I won't forget it. So yeah, I would say Alison Krauss in Union Station. It says your vinyl record collection in 10 years time, is it bigger, smaller, or about the same, and explain why? Well, like I've talked about in previous videos, my collection is more curated than being like a avid collector. I'm coming into vinyl late. I've been into vinyl for about 7 years now. So it's more like me trying to piece together all the albums that I've come to love over my lifetime on vinyl. So there's still a whole bunch I don't have yet. And, you know, every year some new ones are added. But so I don't have filler. The stuff I have, I'm keeping. So I only expect it to get bigger. How much bigger, I don't know, but I expect it to be bigger. The next question. You move into a new home. You play one record turned up to 11. It goes to 11. To announce your arrival. What is it and why? Thought about this one a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of ways I could go to be the real sincere route. I didn't do that. I just went with Neil Young Trans, because man, sample and hold at 11 is just everything. And yeah, I think that would announce enough to my neighbors if I had sample and hold going at 11 from Neil Young's Trans. So I took Neil Young's 80s work Trans. It says, show 2 albums, one each of your favorite male and female singers. Why these 2? Well, yeah, another one I went a lot of ways with, but I went the country route with mine for these 2. The way I kind of thought of it was like, one was just definitely my favorite male singer ever, as far as a singer. And then the second one would be, if I could go see anyone live right now and their voice, their singing would be what I was there to see the most, it would be this artist, and that's Sierra Farrell. I was definitely on her early from her viral YouTube videos. And I've had the good fortune of seeing her live. I saw her at a small little club in Jacksonville here right before she exploded to the larger venues that she's playing now. And it was everything. And there's something in her that just feels like a culmination of all the years and all the things I listened to in her voice. I think she's a singular talent. I think she's probably the best live act going now. I'm excited to get the opportunity to see her again. But for right now, for the reasons I gave, favorite female singer, I'd have Sierra Farrell. And then favorite male singer, The Hag. I just picked out this album. This is an 80s gem that is a real highlight of his singing. Going Where the Lonely Go. Smooth, cool vibes on this record. With the song most people haven't heard but should hear, called Shopping for Dresses. Seek out the song Shopping for Dresses by Merle Haggard. Yeah, those are my signers. Says we like to have fun here. Show your top 3 soul dance records. I don't really have soul and dance. It's not in my wheelhouse. So I just picked out the 3 albums I thought about that would have stuff on it that I would most like to dance to. I think this is kind of highlighting my very much white guyness. But hey, here it is. We're going to start out with CCR's Cosmos Factory. Starts out with Ramble Tamble. Do the awkward slow white guy boogie that all the time. We've got Bluegrass, always gets me thumping and jumping. And if I got to go bluegrass, then my go-to is Jim and Jesse. This is just a collection of their greatest songs by Jim and Jesse. So I pulled that one out. Any of their up-tempo songs get me going. And then just because it makes me laugh and it really does get me dancing, Bob Dylan's Shot of Love. If you really want to like make your eyes bleed, I posted a reel here on YouTube of myself dancing to one of these songs. You probably don't want to see that. But yeah, that's just video proof that I ain't kidding. All right, moving on. So real stinker. Nominate a track you hate from an album you love. I actually did a video previously that these were albums that I felt to me would be, Hall of Fame worthy for my world if it weren't for one track. Hate's a strong word, but the songs I just dislike within the flow of certain albums. I mentioned this one in that video, but I'll bring it up again. We're going back to Springsteen, and that is The Ghost of Tom Joad. This could be, a top 2 Springsteen album for me, if not for the last track. My Best Was Never Good Enough. I understand what he was going for. I just think it misses. It's a song made up entirely of cliches. And yeah, I think it was a bold thing to try to do, but it just didn't work to me. So I'm going to go with the best. My Best Was Not Good Enough for me. My Best Was Never Good Enough from The Ghost of Tom Joad as the stinker. If you had to pick one album from each of the last 6 decades, what would they be? I recently did a rundown of my 25 favorite albums of all time, so you're going to see a lot of selections from that. So we'll start 1960s. You may have heard of this one, Highway 61 Revisited. 70s, Van Morrison, Walking the Streets of Arklow, Around the Cul-de-sacs, Searching for the Mythical Veed Fleece. As 1974, Veed Fleece by Van Morrison. 1980s, Back to Merle and Back to the Barrooms. So I go with Back to the Barrooms by Merle Haggard. 90s, Lucinda Williams sitting on her front porch in her house in Macon. Sam Cooke on the radio. Lucinda Williams with Car Wheels on the Gravel Road. In the 2000s, going back to my man Bob Dylan, Modern Times. And we'll revisit that one also later in this list. I'm going to keep it aside. What are we? That was 2000s and 2010s. The Coulter Wall, Songs of the Plains, kind of bringing it all back home in the country field with an Out of My Door. So, that is already a stack down there. It says you get the opportunity to spend a day alone with one artist, walking a mountain trail, the beach, or hanging out in the city. Who would be that artist? I went with Dwight Yoakam, just because I think he's kind of the epitome of cool and would be a really interesting dude. And I can't fathom a day hanging out with Dwight Yoakam that wouldn't be fun. Said, what would be your must-ask question? It could be cool stuff about Sharon Stone, that kind of thing. But I think, keeping on topic here, we'll say I'd ask him which one of his albums would he choose to best represent his career. I think that would be really interesting to get his take on that. So, yeah. Next, to show a record that contains a track that always brings a tear to the eye, or are you a heartless bastard? I have a pick for this, and I actually don't have the record. And what's funny is I had the reaction I've had, I think, the last 5 times I thought about this. I knew it immediately the song I wanted, and then I went and I was like, oh, you idiot, you don't have this on record. And then I go look, because I'm like, I need to get this. I'm just going to buy it. And it doesn't exist. That's why I don't have the record on vinyl. And that is Lucinda Williams' Sweet Old World is the album. She did like a remake of it, like Taylor Swift style. But that's not, kudos to that. I've listened to it. I like it, but it's not the original. And the song is He Never Got Enough Love. I'm a real sucker for sad lyrical songs that have like an upbeat tempo. Also known as basically the Born in the USA album by Bruce. But He Never Got Enough Love tears me up. It's about a kid who's raised by a drunken POS father. And in the last verse, he gets a gun, gets shot dead trying to rob a liquor store. And the last line before she repeats the chorus again is, he was only looking to prove his daddy right. And something about Lucinda's impeccable way of being able to sing it. And the fact that she uses daddy in that line, a tender, affectionate name for a father, that he was only looking to prove his daddy right. He's always telling him he was no good. And it tears me up. So yeah, I've got He Never Got Enough Love by Lucinda Williams. It says, show 3 albums from artists you've tried to love, but you're questioning why you bother. Going back, this is curated. If this is, for me, it's like the star rating. These are all 5-star albums or whatever for me. So I don't have that. If I don't love the artist, I don't have the record. For the most part. So I picked 3 that I thought of that, like, you would think with my interest and stuff that I would like, that I have tried. And that's the big thing, I think, with this prompt, is that I have tried to get into him. Gordon Lightfoot, so many covers of his stuff I love. And as a Bob Dylan guy, it's like, oh, I love the covers of those. Like, that always annoys me. But Gordon Lightfoot, I can't get into it. Another, it's kind of a newer thing, and being into alternative country music, Drive-By Truckers. I'm cool. It's fair enough. It's fine enough, but I have not anywhere close to love it. And then the third one, Prince. It just doesn't, I understand it. I would not sit here and argue when the Prince sucks or he's not unbelievable and great and all that kind of stuff, but Prince's stuff just doesn't do it for me. I know. Throw the rotten fruit, I deserve it. So yeah, those 3. All right, this is showing down from an artist whose character disappoints you, or can you separate the artist from the art? I try really hard on the separating the artist from the art. I kind of can't get there with this dude anymore. But this album was a flex. It's undeniable to me, and it's the one I'll hold on to outside of the dude. This is Ryan Adams. And Gold. I just a 2 LP record, and it is boss songs from beginning to end. It was a bold, big record to undertake, and he didn't miss with just to me, like, hard to compete with intimidating amount of great songs. And so Ryan Adams, Gold, I Can't Quit You. Said if you had to sell all your vinyl along with your record player, show the one album you would hold on to as a keepsake. If you watch this channel enough, you know my wife's best influence on me. And for our honeymoon, I had never been overseas. I live in America, in Florida. And for someone who'd never been overseas, we went to Budapest for our honeymoon because she thought it would be cool, and she had a friend that was going to be there and all that, and it was unbelievable. And of course, when I went there, I had to go to the record store, and it was like kind of the generic idea of like kind of that Eastern Bloc type of nation thing that like everything was outdated by a couple of decades. So when I went in there, the only Bob Dylan that they had in there was the 80s Bob, and I bought it all. I got Real Live, Infidels, the one I'm about to show you, and I think maybe one more, maybe Saved or something like that. But anyway, the one I would keep in memory of this trip, and particularly because of the Bad Rascal hype sticker that's on it, is Empire Burlesque by Bob Dylan, and it's got the Heat Wave 85 sticker on it, featuring Tight Connection to My Heart. I can just hear it on the radio, and this is, the cover is impossibly 80s. The design is impossibly 80s. It's from Budapest record store. Has the hype stickers, all of it. This is the one I would keep. Yes. Let's see. Moving on. It says, discuss your VC highlight of 2025. Lost Mixtapes, I'll do a link to this. He did a breakdown videos of the entire Tracks box set. And so in doing that, he discussed Inyo. And I have incredibly superlative feelings about Inyo. For me, already, I've listened to it ad nauseum, is that the term, just nonstop since Tracks 2 came out. It's the most overtaken I've been by an album in a long, long time. It's already S tier Springsteen for me. I have it easily as my favorite Springsteen album since The Ghost of Tom Joad. It was kind of in my wheelhouse of the Latter Day Bruce, which is I consider albums after Tunnel of Love. It's this more narrative style approach to songwriting, like Devils and Dust, and you know, like The Ghost of Tom Joad, that I'm more into. And this has a taste of that, and then it's mixed with kind of a border vibe, and he brings in mariachi, so you can kind of get a little taste. I have an obsession with Marty Robbins Western music, a little bit of taste of that, and you can feel the influence of, I know, I'm going to get his name wrong, but, you know, the Western score guy, Ennio Morricone, I think, that, you know, the good and bad, the ugly sounds, that type of thing. It just all comes together in the songs, and I know he, like, put a little bit of it together later from times when he recorded it back during the Joad era and Devils and Dust. It all works together, and I am in love with the album Inyo, so it was cool to get to just see a video on someone breaking that down. I think I might do one. I might do a way in-depth Inyo video, but yeah, so that was my highlight. Next one, name your favorite musical biopic, if you have one. This is going to be a cheat. I guess if I had to pick a biopic, I would either take the recent Bob Dylan one, because I'm a Bob Dylan guy, and I thought they did a good job, relatively speaking. And then Coal Miner's Daughter. Levon Helm is Loretta Lynn's dad. Come on. That's awesome. But I'm going to cheat, and I'm actually going to say a drama, and it's Tender Mercies, the Robert Duvall film, where he plays a washed-up drunk former country music star. And everything about that film wrecks me. It's beautiful, and Tess Harper in it's unbelievable. And it has an authenticity to it that is pretty undeniable. I just think Tender Mercies is a great, great film, and it breaks my heart, and I love it. So yeah, that's my cheat code. I'm going to go with Tender Mercies. Number 17, give 3 reasons why jazz matters and show a favorite album. I got nothing. I'm not into jazz. I'm not opposed to it. I don't have some stern thing. It just hasn't hit me, hasn't come across my plate. My older brother keeps coming at me with some stuff he thinks I need to hear, and he's been a big conduit in my life. It just hadn't happened yet. I got nothing. I know jazz matters. I'm sure it does. I know it does, but I ain't got it. So, moving on. Number 18. You're an innocent man or woman on death row. They give you one last musical request. What do you ask for? This one's on the nose. This one's on my wheelhouse. This was kind of when I got to this question, I'm like, ooh, I want to do this video because of this. I guess something like 20 years ago, maybe 15 to 20 years ago. It was the only time I got to see Merle Haggard live. And he performed at the Panama City Marina Civic Center. And that was the stage I graduated high school on. I already lived out of town, but I went back and I was able to go with my mom and dad. And he was still great. He was still in great form when I saw him. I'm really thankful for that. And when he did Sing Me Back Home, just not trying to be showy or anything, I stood up. It was almost like, man, you're Merle Haggard, and I'm going to show that respect or something. And I stood up, and I was kind of self-aware. I was the only person standing up. And I stood up for the whole song, and on a couple of the lines that he sang, he looked right at me, and I'll never forget it. I'm getting emotional about it. I mean, Merle singing Sing Me Back Home. The warden led a prisoner down the hallway to his doom. And I stood up to say goodbye like all the rest. And I heard him tell the warden, there's this song my mama sang. Could you sing it before I move along? So, yeah, I would want to hear Sing Me Back Home by Merle Haggard. Okay, number 19. Sell your favorite artist to a new listener. Show one essential album and explain why they should make time for it. When you're a Bob Dylan guy, that's hard because people are like, I don't like him, and I know, but like, But if you take that in a void and someone didn't have a built-in opinion, I'm going back to an album I had. I would choose Modern Times. I think it's 2006. I would tell them, you know about the biopic with I'm Imaginary Younger Person with Timothy Chalamet. That was him in the 60s. In 1991, he received a Lifetime Grammy Award. They were putting him out to pasture in 1991. All these years later, he released this album, and it's as good as anything he ever did in the 60s. It is. And critically acclaimed so. And this is like a travelogue of early American music. And it kind of, my take is, I introduce this to you. If you give this an earnest shot and it's not for you, then I think maybe Bob Dylan's not for you. But there are lots of Bob Dylans, so maybe there would be another window. I mean, I got in by the original folky times they are changing type of stuff, so who says? But this is the album I would go to try to get them in the Bob cult. Last question. You're arranging a VC meetup in 2026, including those you've already met. Invite 3 people you'd most like to meet. I will go with Katie Cords from Cords Records. She's down in Australia. I always love her takes on stuff, and I can just tell she just loves the music. I think she's cool. It'd be a cool hang. I got Chris at the Long Cut and John at Digital Gramophone. Those are kind of my 2 OGs of the vinyl community who got me into it. So yeah, that's it. All right, that's it. Thanks for tagging along on my Vinyl Tag 2026 rundown. Thanks.